Hello y'all, this is Jessica from Madame and Sticks YouTube channel. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome in, you're welcome here. Anyways, on today's video, we're going to be going over this character right here on the Dead by Daylight video horror video game. He is known as the Oni on this video game. He is prestige to a level 4. This is what he looks like when he's checked marked off on the character chart on the killer side. He is a ferocious killer. I play on this person's account on Steam, and right now I use all their other gaming resources. Let's go ahead and get into the bio on the Oni. The Oni, honoring his family name, was never enough for Kazan Yokomoka. He wanted to surpass his father's reputation and end what he had saw as the thinning of samurai culture, with farmers often posing as samurai. His father tried to turn Kazan's attention to more noble pursuits, but Kazan refused to heed his advice, and borrowing his father's katana, he embarked on a dark pilgrimage to prove his worth and rid Japan of impostors. Ignoring the code that had been taught to him, Kazan killed impostors in the hills and the valleys, on the beaches and in the woodland. The killings were brutal, cruel, and morbid. He humiliated farmers and warriors alike, yanking off their top knots and stripping them of their armor. His rage, bloodlust, and perverse sense of honor knew no bounds. Monks believed he was possessed by something dark, otherworldly, and cursed him, while a noble lord began to call him Oni Yokomoka. The rageful samurai, an insult both to Kazan and his family, determined to redeem his family's name. Kazan now butchered anyone who dared call him Oni Yokomoka. The insult confused him. He had defeated the best, and he had purified the samurai class by ridding the land of impostors. How could anyone refer to him as an orgy? It had been he had marched onto the battlefield to cut down the fiercest warriors. Had it been because he had taken a kanabo and dashed hundreds of skulls with it? Or had it been because of his need to secure a trophy from his victims? It didn't matter. Being called an orgy was more than he could bear, and an ominous voice in his head urged him to strike down the Lord who had discredited his name. As Kazan made for the Lord's town, he suddenly found himself face to face with a samurai standing on a dirt road, blocking his way. Kazan readied his kanabo. Without a word, the samurai attacked and quickly secured the upper hand, but he hesitated. With a devastating blow, Kazan crushed the samurai's head and cracked his helmet. As Kazan approached the fallen samurai, he saw his father's face and staggered back to his haunches. His father stared at Kazan with mingled shame and regret as he issued his last breath. Kazan closed his eyes and screamed in agony until he could scream no more. When he opened his eyes again, his father was gone. Not only had his father he killed his father, but he had allowed thieves to steal his body for armor. Bitter, lost, and delusional, Kazan roamed the land aimlessly, with his father's voice rattling in his head, taunting him, reminding him of his values, sending him into fits of uncontrollable black rage. One day, walking in the woods, Kazan happened upon the Oni statue. He stopped and stood motionless for a long moment. The withered and overgrown statue seemed to be ridiculing him, accusing him of being the impostor samurai. he had so desperately sought to destroy. Kazan shook the laughing voice out of his head and half remembered the Lord who had ridiculed him in as Oni Yokamonka. With renewed anger, Kazan journeyed to a town high up in the snowy mountains where the Lord resided. A dozen samurai met Kazan at the gates of the town. A dozen samurai fell to his kanabu. His speed and strength were unmatched, his raid incomprehensible. Covered in his blood and gore, Kazan battled through the town and soon found the Lord hiding in a villa. He dragged him out of a cabinet, sliced his tendons to embolize him, and watched him beg and squirm like a dog. Without hesitation, he thrust his fist into the Lord's mouth and yanked out the wicked tongue that had discredited his name. Satisfied, Kazan exited the villa to find himself surrounded by dozens of farmers wielding rusty cinches, sharp pitchforks, and heavy clubs. He survived the first few assaults, but there were too many attackers coming from every direction. Within moments, Kazan was on the ground, staring at a cold, indifferent, darkening sky as farmers took turns stabbing and torturing the Oni, who had butchered their beloved lord. The frenzied mob dragged Kazan into a small stone mill to continue the torture and finally left him to die a slow, agonizing death. When they returned, the mill was filled with a strange black fog, and Kazan's body and Kanabo were nowhere to be found. It was the beginning of a dark legend about a rageful Oni haunting the town. So that's the backstory, the bio on the Oni. Now, let's go ahead and read his perks. He's got Sanshan Tactus, very rare because it's in the purple. You are mentally alert and aware of nearby enemies in retreat. Reveal the aurora of pallets and vaults within 32 meters. Survivors who drop pallets are revealed to you for 5 seconds. Within your enemy's strength is weakness. Renjarjo's Doctrine 12.5. His next perk is called Blood Echo. It's very rare because it's in the purple. The agony of one inflicted on others. When hooking a survivor, all injured survivors suffer from the hemorrhage and exhausted status effects for 30 seconds. Exhausted prevents survivors from activating exhausting perks. Hemorrhage regresses the healing progress when not healing and increased blood trails left by injured survivors. This lasts for a set duration or until healed. Attack an enemy with precision. Their allies will feel it. Rejarno's Doctrine 6.3. His last perk is Nemesis, very rare. You seek retribution of those who have wronged you. A survivor who blinds you or stuns you while using a pallet or locker becomes your obsession. Anytime a new survivor becomes the obsession, they are affected by the Albulus Stabbus effect for 60 seconds, and their aurora is shown to you for 8 seconds. The killer can only be obsessed with one survivor at a time. Oblivious prevents survivors from hearing or being affected by the killer's terror radius. Only a fool will spit in a demon's face and declare victory. Rejarno's Doctrine 4.9. So that's the perks about the Oni. Now let's get into his customizations. He's got Midsummer Bloodshed. It looks like this. I'm sure I earned it for this person. This person only streams whenever they're streaming on Twitch, and they haven't played this account much. And so that's the only time they play this Dead by Daylight horror game. The next one is the original outfit to the Oni, and that's what I have on him now. Now, let's look at his loadout. I've only played the Oni one time. I think he's a real hard killer to go up against and also play. That's just my opinion, and I don't enjoy playing the killer side. The only killer I really play is the Trapper, and I hardly ever play him anymore. So this is the perks that the owner has on him. And then here's what his blood web looks like. Like I said, it's a piece prestige to a level 4, and that's what the Oni looks like. So I appreciate those of you who have watched all the way through, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.